Hi, I'm Steve, and today we're going to talk about inline hockey or roller hockey skates. As the name implies, these skates are for roller hockey, but they also can be used for an ice hockey player who would like to get a skate that fits like their ice hockey skate that they can use in cross-training in the summertime. So let's talk about the differences between a roller hockey skate. Things we're going to talk about are the wheels, the configuration of the wheels, the bearings, the frame, the outsole, and the boot. All right, let's start at the bottom of the skate with the wheels. So wheels come in really two basic types. A single pour wheel like this one, which is made out of one poured material, and a dual pour material like this one, which actually has what looks like, if you can see in the camera, an inner wheel and an outer wheel. Now before we talk about that, let's talk about the types of softness that you can get on a wheel. In a indoor environment, you're going to want a very sticky wheel because a sticky wheel will grip and hold faster. Typically the surfaces are wood or some kind of a sport court, which is very smooth. And so what you're looking for is a wheel that has a durometer. Durometer is the measurement of the softness of between a 72A and a 76A. The lower the number, the softer the material. If you're using the skate for outdoor purposes, you want a harder wheel, typically a durometer of an 82 to an 84A. And wheels that are in between, those would be 78A and 80A, are sort of dual purpose wheels, but they're a little bit hard for indoor and they're a little soft for outdoor. But sometimes those are fine for sort of a beginner skater who may be using the wheels for both purposes. If you are going to skate both indoor and outdoor, you probably are going to want to get a different set of wheels because if you use indoor wheels outside, you'll wreck them almost immediately. They'll wear out very fast. And if you use outdoor wheels on the inside, they're way too hard and they'll slide too much on the surface. All right, now getting to the dual pour wheel, the problem they found on the indoor wheels, especially as you go into the higher end skates that get really, really soft indoor wheels, is the soft wheel would distort. It would get flat as you put weight on it, not making the wheel quite as round and easy to turn. It also would tweak from side to side. And that sacrificed performance in the skate. So what they found is that if they pour the inside of the wheel with a high durometer material for stiffness, and then the outside of the wheel, which comes in surface contact, with a lower durometer or softer material, they got the best of both worlds, which is a wheel that will keep its integrity, but give you the softness that you want to hold on to that court. So the higher end skates will typically come with a dual durometer wheel, which is a much better wheel typically than a single pour wheel. Next thing you want to look at is bearings. So skates will typically come with bearings from an ABEC 3 or 5 at the opening price points to a 7 or even a 9. The higher number on a bearing, the faster the wheels will roll, allowing you to get up to speed quickly, get down the court much faster. Higher end bearing will simply make the skates go quicker and more quickly up to speed. Next thing we want to talk about is the frames. Or actually, we want to talk about the wheel setups, I'm sorry. So on a roller hockey skate, there are two types of wheel setups. The first is a straight setup where every wheel is the same size, typically 76s or 80s in terms of millimeter size of the wheel. Or more commonly, a high-low type setup where the wheels are configured in different sizes to sort of shape with the contour of the boot. Now, one of the goals of roller hockey is to keep the skate low and to the surface. We don't use those large 100-millimeter wheels that we use typically on recreational or high-performance skates used outdoors. We use much smaller wheels because we want to keep low to the surface so we have a low center of gravity. In order to do that, what we want to do is follow the contour of the skate. And you'll notice that a skate naturally goes up in the back just like a shoe would that has a heel. So we can fit a smaller wheel in the front, allowing the skate to get as low to the surface as possible, and a larger wheel in the back, because a larger wheel will give us a little more speed, and we can fit it in the back because the boot's much higher. Different skates will have different configurations. This one, for example, has an 80 in the back, two 76s in the middle, and then a 72 in front. But there are other configurations besides that. The next thing we want to talk about is the frame of a skate. So most roller hockey skates come with a metal frame these days. There aren't very many left which have plastic frames, but there's different kinds of metals. The reason why you want a stiffer metal as you go up in price, and the reason why you want that is because the straighter the frame stays, the less it tweaks and turns as you're moving it, the more power you're going to transfer directly to the wheels. Opening price or lower price skates have what's called a stamped metal frame, where they take a machine and they stamp out the frame out of a piece of metal, stretching the metal into shape. But as you get up into better frames, you get what's called an extruded aluminum frame. So aluminum is a lighter material, and the material is extruded, meaning it starts with a solid block of material and they mill the frame out of it so it isn't stretched and the integrity of the metal is much stronger. And some skates, as you go up in price, will actually get to a magnesium frame where the frame is even lighter but just as strong, taking some weight out of the skate. The next thing we want to talk about is the outsole. Now the outsole is not something we even talk about on other types of skates, but it's very important on a roller hockey skate because that's the point where the skate is connected from the frame, which is the performance part of the skate, to the boot, which is the part that gives you the support and the comfort. A low-end or inexpensive skate will typically have a plastic-like bottom. And the problem with that is that as you move back and forth and make quick stops and turns, this frame is going to turn quite a bit on that outsole because it's not a stiff material to mount to. As you go up in price, what you typically get is a carbon type outsole like both of these have, which is a much stiffer material and allows the frame integrity to stay intact with the boot, so there's very little stretching or moving of that frame. Because the key to a good performing roller hockey skate is to get that connection from your knee all the way down to the boot and directly transferred through the boot to the frame and the wheels without any slop, moving, twisting like that. So as you go up in price, that's what you get. The last thing we want to talk about is the boot itself. Now the boots are designed for really two purposes, comfort and performance. The performance is a function of how stiff the boot is, and the comfort will determine whether you can handle that stiffness without the boot becoming uncomfortable. So when you start with the opening price point, here's a little kid skate for example, you're typically getting a boot that has a relatively soft or pliable material. It gives some support, but not a lot, but on a kid skate that's perfectly fine. Moving up to a skate that has a little more stiffness to it, like this one, and maybe a little bit more felt in the tongue, up to something that's much higher performance like this one, which has a nice thick tongue, and this is so stiff, I'm really trying to push this and I can barely bend the inside of this skate whatsoever, along with other types of things that make the skate more durable. The stiffer skate is for the more advanced skaters, so if you're a beginner skater, this is the first time you really want to stick with a less expensive skate that's softer, it'll be more comfortable. As you go up in price, you want a stiffer skate. You also want to get a skate, as you go up in price, you get a skate that's heat moldable. And this is how we take the stiff skates and make them comfortable. So you take the skate, you actually take the wheels off and bake it in an oven, and then you put it on your foot, and then you can custom mold the skate around your foot, giving it a perfect fit. Roller hockey skates come with no brake because you don't need them. So really the bottom line here is you want to pick a skate that is at the stiffness level really where you're at. Beginners would want a relatively soft skate. If you've skated before, you probably want something more in the intermediate range. And if you look on our site, you'll notice that we have a bar graph giving you the skill level of each skate that we carry, helping you pick which skate matches your skill level. And if you're an advanced player or you're moving over from ice hockey, you're going to want a much stiffer skate.